Welcome. We are so excited to see an amazing turnout today. This is the first webinar of our new Women's Fund at Alumni Ventures. I looked at the RSVP list and it is amazing. We have new friends, longtime investors in the Alumni Ventures family of funds, and founders. We have all genders represented as well and are welcome here. This is going to be fun. I'm Laura Rippey. I'm the managing partner of the Women's Fund here and your host today. Alumni Ventures is the third most active VC globally with 1.25 billion raised so far and 1,300 portfolio companies. I love that fabulous female-led startups are the focus of our attention today. To be clear, we're starting the Women's Fund from a position of strength. We have 357 portfolio companies founded, co-founded, or led by women. 357 venture-backed companies with female leadership. For every single one, we invested because of the enormous potential of the startup. You'll meet some of those stories today, and we are so excited to back even more with your support and investment. So before we begin, a little legalese. This presentation is for informational purposes only and is not an offer to buy or sell securities. You can see the disclosures in the lower right-hand corner, av-funds.com/disclosures. So with that, let's jump into the agenda. So first, you're going to meet the team. So this fabulous tribe around me, we're going to do some introductions. We are going to go into some Sheconomy statistics, and then a little bit about why to invest in the Alumni Ventures New Women's Fund. There is a Q&A at the end. That is always my favorite. So if you have questions, please pop those into the chat. We collected some from all of you before this started, but we really are curious about what you're curious about and hope to answer some of those. So with that, let's meet these fabulous women that we have. So that's me over on the left. My passion about the Alumni Ventures Women's Fund is deep. I was a CEO 3 times, and I raised venture capital back when the number of female CEOs was hardly measurable. So I care. I love my role as a venture investor at Alumni Ventures. It's been about 6+ years. I now run a few funds here and I'm on the board. So this is the intersection of 2 passions for me.
What an intro to follow up, Laura. But yeah, great to see everyone out there. My name is Mira Oak. I'm a senior principal with Alumni Ventures. Prior to the venture world, I worked at Yale as part of their endowment finance team and later led product initiatives within enterprise infrastructure and more specifically a full-fledged ERP implementation. I later, jumped into a venture studio and helped launch a business in New York in the HR tech space before joining Alumni Ventures full-time a little over 3 years ago, which is incredible. So excited to be here with you all.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia Zhao. I'm a senior principal on both the Women's Fund and the AI's Fund here at Alumni Ventures, and I'm super excited to be working with our team of amazing women. Prior to becoming an investor, I was in the startup and banking world, working with founders and CXOs in the cloud computing, SaaS, natural resources, and consumer sector. I immersed myself in the world of Web3 post-graduating from Yale School of Management, and I've been focused on AI and Web3 investment on our team. And this year, I'm particularly interested in the application of AI on how it can help optimize the way we work and live for the better. Great to meet you.
Awesome. Well, hi everyone. My name is Brittany Wade. I'm a senior associate here on the team. Prior to joining AV, I was working largely in the product space, first with a number of large enterprise customers at MasterCard, specifically on installment and buy now, pay later solutions. I later transitioned to the startup ecosystem and worked for multiple startups all the way from the seed stage all the way to growth. Super excited to be here with you guys today and learn more and talk more about all the great work that we're doing.
Fantastic. This is a major initiative at Alumni Ventures, the Women's Fund. So let's meet more of the team you need to know.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. I recognize a number of different, very familiar names on the webinar, and I also look forward to meeting others who are new to our community. I am a senior partner here at Alumni Ventures, and my main role is to engage with our investors. I have over 15 years of experience in finance in a variety of capacities, but I must say my current role here is one of my favorites. So please do not hesitate to reach out, and I look forward to discussing the fund with you.
Great. Thanks, Stacy. Hi, everyone. My name is Haley, and I'm the Investor Relations Manager for the Women's Fund. I'm here as a resource if you have any questions about the Women's Fund or the next steps to invest in our current Women's Fund. And with that, I will send it over to the wonderful Shale.
So my name is Shale Highbloom, and my role is to grow this fantastic community of self-identifying women and allies through strategic partnerships. I've spent my career in venture capital and at a family office, both as an early stage investor and a platform leader. Alumni Ventures is leaning into the Women's Fund with my role, and I encourage you to reach out if you lead an organization that has a commitment to women's entrepreneurship. And I look forward to you learning more.
Fantastic. Great. So we are building from strength. We've invested $200 million in 357 startups founded, co-founded, or led by women. We invest at a higher rate than the VC market, generally in women, and Alumni Ventures is especially strong with female-only founders, so 9% versus the industry average of 6% in our years. So we are super proud of these statistics, but we can do more with your support. So as we dig in, and we're going to give you a taste to get you to sort of kind of touch and feel and hear more about these teams as an example of the kinds of companies that you'd invest in, I wanted to kind of share a little bit about the sectors that we're in. So we're in everything that the venture world really excels in: cybersecurity, robotics, biotech, fintech, gaming, the metaverse. That's where our founders live and have led companies, a couple that we're going to drill into in a minute, Venus Aerospace, Syntony as examples. But just to let you know, this is a fund that backs truly amazing companies that are setting off to change the world. And just coincidentally, their leadership is women.
Great. I'd like to highlight a few important stats along with my colleague Brittany. The first one will be the funding disparity. 25% of total US capital goes to companies with at least one female leader. A number I'm not really excited about, but I hope our Women's Fund will bring that up higher. Second is the gender gap in VC. With 65% of the firm lacking a female partner, our all-women team, as well as our cohort of venture scouts at our Women's Fund, stands as a powerful force for positive change, addressing the evident gender disparity in venture capital. And three, leading in women founders. AV ranks 4th among all VCs for funding female-founded startups, exemplified by successful exits like Nexus' $320 million acquisition by Essity in 2022, and our investment in Kindbody's fertility care company that's valued at $1.8 billion.
Great. And then just building on the stats that Sophia just shared, there's also additional research to show that backing women is not only the right thing to do, but also a smart economical play as well. I'm sure you intuitively know that women-led ventures have better performance and also quicker exits, as the data shows that, as we've highlighted here on the slide. But also additionally, women-led startups are across the venture spectrum in deals such as biosecurity and cyber, fintech, as Laura highlighted previously, and we see all those things highlighted in our portfolio as well.
So this is my favorite part of any of these discussions, and certainly with these founders. So we're going to go and give you a little taste of what are the kinds of companies that we back. So I'll kick it off, and then the team's going to share some more. So Kindbody. So this is the epitome of our topic today. My team invested in the Series A for this fertility platform, and I remember it vividly. There were only women around the table, the leadership team and all the VC investors. That company is now, Kindbody is now valued at $1.8 billion. And why? Gina Bartesi. She is the CEO and she is the founder and she is a force of nature. She previously took a company from founding to IPO. And, as a little example, in 2022 of what Kindbody did, always sort of shows to me the grit and the drive that this team has. So in 1 year, they acquired a competitor, doubling their footprint. They acquired a labs company, which helped them to vertically integrate. And then they closed Walmart as a customer, the second largest employer in the US, all in 1 year. Wow. And the Walmart deal is important because historically, fertility benefits were mostly on the coasts, and kind of knowledge workers were the ones that got those benefits. And with Walmart, it opens up a broader swath of America to those fertility benefits that Kindbody represents. So in so many ways, Kindbody is the kind of company that I hope you see if you come in as an investor will be exemplary, really knocking the cover off the ball so far. Still lots of distance to travel, but what an amazing company. So why don't I pass the proverbial mic to Brittany.
Great, thanks, Laura. Another startup we'd love to highlight is Praxis Labs, and the founder being Elise Williams is another great example of a female leader really building to change the world. Her startup, Praxis Labs, uses cutting-edge software to bring DE&I training to corporate customers. So far, this has been launched with the likes of Uber, Google, and Etsy, as well as several other large corporate clients I'm sure you all have heard of. She's already closed $19 million in her company, and she's still building, and I'm sure that she will continue to progress from there. And this deal also really shows the power of the Alumni Ventures network. We got into this deal with a connection to a Midas VC at Norwest Ventures due to our Dartmouth DNA, which was really exciting. And I'll pass it over to Sophie.
So cool. Thank you, Brittany. That's such a cool company. Financial literacy is very important to me. I've been a volunteer at junior achievements and going around different schools, educating students on financial literacy at an early age. And to me, I love what Alves is doing. It's basically a robo-advisor investment platform and financial literacy primarily for women. It was founded by Sally Krawcheck and Charlie Crow in 2014, and they received venture capital from Melinda Gates Pivotal Ventures, Valerie Jarrett, and Eric Schmidt.
Awesome. I'll bring it home. I think what's really interesting is to sort of see companies with their footprint both within the US and even beyond the US. And I think Carry First really exemplifies this. I really love this sort of gaming and payments deal that's rooted in Africa. And this is led by Lucy Hoffman and her co-founder Cordell. The team is just tackling an enormous opportunity as the leading mobile games publisher and digital commerce platform in Africa. And just to give you some context here, the average age in Africa is 19 years old, and there will be more smartphones in Africa in 5 years than Europe and North America combined. So it just really paints like not only do they have a foothold here, but the market opportunity is just enormous, to say the least. And we were really pleased to see a leading specialty gaming investor in Bitcraft bring a supersized check to this round and that we were able to participate in, as well as A16Z, which is the prior lead, investing double their pro rata. So all around the table, there was so much conviction, and that really strengthened our conviction in not only the team, but the opportunity. So it was a great deal to be a part of.
Phenomenal. Let's go page through it a little bit more, because I think this hopefully brings it to light. Brittany, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. So we'd love to highlight some of the growth stage companies that we've also been able to be a part of. The first one, Madison Reed, I'm sure many of the women on this call have heard of. It's the leading natural hair color brand in the country. The CEO, Amy Arrett, and the Madison Reed team has grown this company massively, especially during the pandemic when so many women and people that needed hair color were stuck at home naturally. Since then, they've grown from 1 color bar to 75 color bar locations and counting, and have also expanded their omni-channel distribution to include locations such as Walmart and Target. And also they have an e-commerce partnership with Amazon to really fuel that growth as well. We're so excited to see their continued growth, and we're proud to have backed this team.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really cool one. Yeah, and just to sort of, you have to throw sort of a deep tech opportunity in the mix as well, because it really paints like the moonshot opportunity. And literally in this case, Venus is a moonshot opportunity, because Venus Aerospace is actually building the first space plane, which can fly at hypersonic speeds at the edge of the atmosphere. And so talk about a company building at the cutting edge here. Like I think on a couple slides earlier, you could see a picture of the space plane. But in practice, what this product will do is, take off from LAX, land in Tokyo in an hour, and bring you back in time for dinner. So I just think that's such a revolutionary sort of technology to be a part of. And Venus is led by Sarah Dugalby, who's an engineer and a serial deep tech entrepreneur with multiple exits to her name. We were really lucky enough to invest in Sarah and Venus during the company's seed round and have since followed on into the company's Series A. And the progress here has been tremendous. So excited to be a part of this story.
That's awesome. I'm also on our AI fund, and I'm excited that AI is a transformative technology that is reshaping and creating how we're living and working in the future. And I think it's important to recognize that female founders are not just in femtech, they're not just in beauty and lifestyle. They're also in these frontier tech areas that are so promising. Syntonie's tech bio platform is powered by AI, and it decodes the signal of immune repertoires to power disease discoveries. The co-founder and CEO, Lily Woolman, has a PhD in computational biology, and we fought our way into this oversubscribed round through flexing our alumni network, connecting the founder to invaluable investors, CEOs, and academic connections within our AV network. So looking at all these fabulous women, these are just a subset of our Venture Scout. If we can go to our next slide on Venture Scouts, you'll see that you'll see some of these familiar faces from our Spotlight deal. And when we reached out to our founders to be the ears and eyes for the deals for us, we had a resounding hell yes. And as for myself, I've been working with the Venture Scouts for our AI fund as well. And I can tell you that this is a great model for both Alumni Ventures and the Scouts.
Absolutely. Just jumping in here, maybe many of you on the call might recognize Gail Ball. She was my peer. She started the Chestnut Street Fund at Alumni Ventures around the Penn community, and also started the first women's fund here. And when we decided to jump in and build this broader women's fund initiative, she was one of my first calls, and I'm so proud that she is a Venture Scout here and participating. So it's really a treat to get to work with her again. So I want to go next to some slides. I know there's a lot of people on the call who are new to venture investing. So I want to just kind of set the table for folks who haven't invested before and share a little bit about the why behind what we do. So Alumni Ventures, as we mentioned, is really an innovator in this. Our mission is to democratize access to venture capital. Why do we do that? It's because venture has outperformed pretty much every asset class out there in 5 to 25 year periods. It's uncorrelated to the public markets, and it's a place of huge value creation. So what we do at Alumni Ventures is we create these portfolios, and the Women's Fund is one of those, where it's a portfolio that's balanced on stage, sector, and geography, so that you get a set of companies, not just one or two, but a set of companies in your portfolio. In our case, we always do about a third growth, and that's why, as we've talked about these companies over the last few pages, you can get a sense of where those existing companies in the portfolio might show up in yours if you join us for the Women's Fund. If you don't know AV, you will now. We're about 10,000 investors that have joined us. We've raised about 1.25 billion. We are the #1 most active VC in North America and the 3rd most active globally. Our returns are terrific. You'll see in the next page, actually, that we are a top quartile performer. You can see that over the first years of our fund as we get started, we've really delivered with this strategy. So our comparison set here are the Andreessens and the Sequoias and really all the big name firms. And our model has produced this top quartile performance in a measure that we think is super important, which is called distributions to paid in capital, DPI, which is basically the money coming back to you. So we are super proud of what we've delivered so far as an organization. The way we do it is through things like the Scouts, but also it is, of course, Alumni Ventures. So we have 20 school funds, and each one of those has their sort of network that they mine. I run 2 funds here around the Dartmouth and the Harvard network, and we get to know folks that are in those communities starting companies. We bring it back and we start the vetting process and the diligence process, and we have a very rigorous, structured approach to enable deals to move quickly through our process, but at the same time have kind of comparison teams scoring them for a check and balance. The net result is a diversified portfolio that's really gone through the ringer of scrutiny, and we're super proud, as you can tell, about those deals. A big piece of what we do is we are a co-investor. I consider this kind of an unfair advantage that we have at Alumni Ventures. Namely, as a co-investor, we can scrutinize the lead investor and why that makes a difference. So not just the firm, so some big names here you see, Andreessen, Khosla, NEA, Google Ventures, folks like that, but also down to the individual partner that's leading the round, going on in the boardroom and really making a difference. So that process of the diligence exercise that we go through is in part to look at the lead investor and to see in each round why that makes a difference. In the deal that Mira talked about in Carry First, the lead in that round that was joined was Bitcraft, their specialty gaming VC. But not only that, the lead partner who founded the firm was the one going on the board. And we also unpacked the deal as Mira described to know what's happening with the prior investors. In that case, for Carry First, it was Andreessen Horowitz. And as she said, they were coming in with double their pro rata. That ability to get into these amazing deals, leveraging the alumni networks, is the core of what we do at Alumni Ventures. So let me turn it to Stacy. We're going to share a little bit about what the Women's Fund is specifically about, give you a chance to get to know her, and we'll come back for questions in a little bit. Go ahead, Stacy.
Hi, everyone. So the Women's Fund, if you're familiar with some of our other offerings, there's going to be some similarities here. The fund is going to be about 15 to 20 deals, and the team is going to take up to 18 months after the fund's closing to fully construct the portfolio. It's going to be diversified by stage. About 25% of the deal flow will be seed stage, 50% early stage, the remaining balance late stage, diversified across geography. Not only do we invest in deals across the United States, we may also participate on occasion international deals. And the co-investing alongside of very reputable institutional quality lead investors. We may also seek pro rata rights and reserve up to 25% of the total AUM of the fund for follow-on rounds. And minimum investment size is about $25,000 up to $3 million. So anywhere in between, we would love to have you join the fund.
Absolutely. And it is for accredited investors, which I think we probably sent some material out ahead of time. So the definition of accredited, there's 2 paths. You can either be accredited by how much you make. It's $200,000 as an individual, $300,000 as a married couple, or you can have over $1 million in assets. There's also ways to qualify as accredited if you have some of the financial certifications under your belt as well. But generally, what AV has built here is a way to democratize access to venture capital. We want as many people as can participate. We'd love to have you come in as a member through joining through the Women's Fund.
Absolutely. And some of the key terms, like I mentioned, minimum investment size, $25,000 upwards to $3 million. And there are numerous ways in which one can invest, whether through an LLC, through a trust, we take cash or self-directed retirement funds. So there are a variety of different venues in which you would be able to fund your investment. I think some of the key terms to be, to be aware of are the following. One, that we do take 2% management fee, but we will reserve 10 years of it upfront. We're a one capital call company, right? To make it super straightforward and easy for you, the investor, you give us one check, and over time, we will send you the proceeds And we will actually manage everything within that, right? We will not pass through legal fees. We will not pass through structuring fees. So it's very easy, straightforward, one capital call. On the profit sharing side, once you recoup the original contribution of an investment, and once you recoup the management fee allocated to the investment, on the profit side, you will keep 80 cents on the dollar. The fund will keep 20 cents on the dollar, and that's known as a 20% carry. All right. And lastly, like I said, we take numerous modes of funding and different entities, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I know sometimes you have very particular personal situations, so we're always here to help.
Awesome.
All right. So this is something that's exciting and new. It's a new loyalty rewards and fee reductions. So there are two paths where you could actually gain reduction on your management fee. One is based on the AUM you have with us. If you have over $500,000 in any Alumni Ventures investment product, you will receive a fee reduction. And on the timing side, if you are able to sign and fund by first close, you will also receive a fee reduction. And just a public service announcement, the Women's Fund's first close is April 30th. So love to have you come in at that point or anytime after that. But if you want to meet that first close, it's April 30th.
Super.
Like I said, any questions, we're here for you, and look forward to welcoming you to the community. All right, back to you, Laura and Mira.
Yeah, let's do some questions, shall we? So I know we had a few that were sent in ahead of time. We've gotten some from the chat. So Mira, why don't you be our MC for this and pass around the questions?
Sounds great. Yeah, and it's no surprise. I mean, given the content that we have seen some really thoughtful questions come through just, while we've been speaking. So I'm excited to sort of have everyone opine on these. So I think first, let's talk about, we're all sort of female investors, right, in this ecosystem. And I think a lot of folks are interested, can you share insights on the impact of female investors in the startup ecosystem? How can we engage more female investors in the startup ecosystem? And maybe Laura, I can start with you, and then, we can jump all up from there.
Awesome. So, I mean, the obvious is join us for the Women's Fund, right? This is like an easy way to get things started. I think if you're comfortable with the risk, you could certainly try to be an angel investor. Part of why we exist at Alumni Ventures is because that is an area where not everyone is comfortable, whereas in this kind of packaged portfolio approach, you really are able to contribute to these female leaders and do it in a way that's kind of this balanced portfolio that takes into consideration the concerns of risk and rewards and kind of balances it in the total. I'd say as an advisor is another fantastic way to be helpful. So at Alumni Ventures, we have an expert community. So the definitions of community for us at Alumni Ventures, the broadest definition is about 650,000 people that come from all of our school communities and now from places like the Women's Fund. And in the expert community, this is a set of resources that we tap into to help our portfolio companies as they have a specific request. So I remember, I had one where it was a specific payments question, and we tapped in through my network. I have a friend from business school who is an expert in payments at Apple. So kind of this digital knowledge, super valuable for an early startup. Just talking to Monique briefly was a real breakthrough for that team. We do that in spades all the time. So being a part of the expert community, and maybe Haley, if you can put that link in our follow-up for everyone, that would be a useful way as well. I don't know if others want to chime in and add, or if we should go on to the next question. Anyone want to pile on that?
I think the only thing I would add.
For sure.
Oh, go ahead, Sophia.
Please go ahead, Brittany.
Oh, okay, great. I think the only thing I would add is the importance of community. I think a lot of female founders are always looking to connect with other women that are also building things. So one of the things that we, I think, do really well here is sort of make those connections. So if you're building something in, the aerospace arena, and then you also want to meet another woman that's building in that space, we're really able to make those connections to kind of help founders build off of each other, and then also kind of see the results from that as well. Go ahead, Sophia.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with Brittany. I think it's important for us to amplify the awareness and their voices within our community. For the Women's Fund, we have an upcoming blog highlighting women in AI, for example, where we not only highlighted our portfolio company, who is Sarah Hooker, who is the head of Cohere for AI. She spearheads the AI research at a portfolio Cohere, which is the large language model enterprise, as well as featuring women investors within our network, et cetera. So it's important to continue lift each other up and help us make more awareness within our communities.
That's such a great actually segue into something that is also coming through, which is really just an understanding of sectors, right? You know, are there sectors in particular that, you know, the Women's Fund is seeing sort of more female founders entering? You know, are there particular ones that they're excelling in? I don't know if, you know, folks can really, you know, tap into that. Maybe Sophia, since you just were touching on AI, maybe we can start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at Alumni Ventures, from our team, we definitely see women founders in all sectors. And since I'm focused on AI and Web3, I've seen women researchers, engineers, product managers coming into the space to experiment with innovations that they're ideating. And I think this coincides with a natural confluence of the AI boom since last year, because we have advancement in quantum computing, we have you know, improvements in the rise of machine learning algorithms, there's availability of massive amount of data. So all of these created a great environment for AI to explode and for women to come in and explore. And then in terms of the value that I see and what I feel excited about these female founders is that they bring such a unique perspective and the creativity that I think is sometimes underestimated. And I wish that women founders have more, I don't know, I just feel like they tend to ask less than male founders. And I always encourage women founders, are you sure that's all you want to raise? Are you sure that is the valuation that you want to ideally have for your round? Because I feel like the value that comes from their creativity is a lot. And sometimes I feel women founders could improve that by, you know, be more confident and ask for what their ideas are worth. What do you think, Brittany? Over to you. If you want to.
I was just going to piggyback off of that quickly, Sophia. I feel like one attribute I really like recognize in female founders is, or one thing they optimize for, is capital efficiency. Like
totally, Mira. I was
right?
just about to say that. Like, absolutely. Sorry, go ahead.
Women make like 5x out of like 1, you know, like they are able to convert way more like return out of, I mean, we've already, you know, discussed that on this panel, obviously, but I just think that is something I've seen time and time again in our founding teams, especially ones that are led by women. So I just wanted, you sort of kicked it off, Sophia, but that made me think of that attribute.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Brittany, Laura, yeah, any other sort of comments on this?
Yeah, I think the only other thing I would add is, and I think you guys have been kind of noodling around it, is just the hunger of female founders. Like, they're just so driven and ambitious. Not that men are not, but I think there's almost like a little bit of a chip on a woman's shoulder that really just makes them excel in any area that they're building in. So I think that's one thing that I've definitely noticed, and I'm excited to kind of continue fostering that as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So what I'd say is at Alumni Ventures, we're omnivores, right? We invest across all these sectors. It's definitely the venture world, you know, only 1% of businesses get venture capital. So it's an elite crew to begin with. And within that, I think, you know, as we say, the female founders, they definitely have, you know, capital efficiency and a drive that I really love. It's candidly been sort of one of the highlights of my 7 years where I get to be meeting these teams. And if I have a female co-partner, co-pilot, you know, I've worked obviously with Mira and with Brittany in the past, and getting on the horn with the female founder when you have female VCs, there is like a really, really awesome experience out of that. I think we all know that what that feels like, and it's been really special and energizing for me as someone who raised capital a long time ago, and there weren't those female VCs. So so it makes me happy to see this.
That's awesome. Maybe, you know, just we touched on sourcing throughout the panel, but I think there's a lot of questions coming through, you know, these promising startups are hard to find sometimes, right? Even if, you know, if there's like a lot of attention there. But I'd love to hear, maybe people can sort of speak to a bit more of the sourcing methodology here. Like how have you found your way into deals, or sort of what have been promising channels for that? And, you know, maybe Brittany, I can start with you, and then, yeah, we can jump from there.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great question. I would definitely say we have a multi-pronged approach. I think the first thing I would highlight is our scouts. Those have always been really great sources for us, and people that just have ears to the ground at all times, meeting other founders that are building really cool things. So I think the Venture Scouts is definitely one. I would also definitely highlight our network and being able to kind of tap into so many different venture ecosystems and also understand what they're seeing and what they find really compelling, and sort of be a really great partner as people are sort of raising capital. And I think the third is thematic. I think all of us have different areas that we really focus on. I know Sophia just mentioned how she has a really strong expertise in AI and Web3. So I think having that sort of thematic expertise is also really important for sourcing. But also curious to hear what Laura, Sophia, Mira, what are some strategies? What are some strategies that you guys have used?
We got to make sure we hear from Mira. My chip in that I love I love all those aspects that you mentioned, Brittany, and then I'd also just amplify the network piece. Like I really feel like what we do at Alumni Ventures gives us an unfair advantage because we can get into those founders because we can navigate the school channels in a way that others really can't. But yeah. Mira, let's hear from you.
Happy to. I mean, I think Brittany like touched on network, and I think a specific archetype that I love in our network is actually our founders. So our founders, you know, we bring them into the portfolio. We work with them from a CEO services perspective. We try our best to add value across, you know, go-to-market, BD, hiring, and then these are our eyes and ears in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I think, you know, we already showed a beautiful page of scouts that we have, right? And a lot of those are founders in our community, and they are already sort of well penetrated into the founder networks in their respective geos, in their respective spaces, and they're also the experts in those spaces. So like as a referral channel, they're just been a really at least what I found, they've been a really promising channel for really interesting opportunities moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that, Mira, you touch upon this. Well, everyone mentions the power of network. And I think our network will not work if we're not good nodes within our network, which means all of us are individual contributors and supporters to our network. We bring value, we take care of each other, we pollinate ideas and deal flows. So I think from a thematic perspective, every one of us have a particular sector focus, or a geo focus, or whatever focus we have, and we try to add value to the networks that are covering those particular focuses. From an AI perspective or Web3, I try to be plugged into research centers at different top universities and AI accelerators to make sure that we're able to capture any emerging new deals that are just coming out of their stealth mode. So I think it's important for us to be in the right ecosystem and have our ears and eyes all over the place with the support of our scouts in order to capture all of these upcoming and promising opportunities.
Absolutely. I think, you know, we've spent a bit of time, you know, talking about sort of the broader AV sort of community or the funds that are within AV. And I think a question that's coming through is really, how does the Women's Fund, you know, collaborate with the broader sort of AV? And if someone could touch on sort of a bit more of a little internal mechanics.
Yeah, happy to take that. So to understand, the Women's Fund is this unusual and amazing opportunity to pull female founders from all of the school funds at AV. So any of the 20 school funds are out there and finding amazing deals, just like we got to the 357. And so any of those teams, whether they have women on them or men on them, as they find amazing opportunities, we note that there is, you know, a female founder, co-founder, or CEO there. And at that point, our team gets triggered to take a look at it and to work on the composition. Because part of what we do at Alumni Ventures is think about each portfolio as really this entity that is crafted. It's balanced, as Stacy said, that, you know, sort of seed and early are the bulk of it, sort of 2/3, 3/4 of it, and 1/3 is growth. And so those tend to be on the early and the seed side. Those are probably new to the AV portfolio. The fact that we are the single most active VC in North America, third most active globally, is evidence of kind of how big our deal flow is to really create those early pieces of the early stage companies in the portfolio. For and really heavily for growth, a lot of times those come from the companies we already have, right? So as those companies move through their pipeline, you know, Venus and all the others, as they come through their pipeline and they raise another round, that's another chance for us to craft it into the portfolio, add it in, balancing by sector and geography, right? So that the portfolio has a holistic feel to it, you know, 1 or 2 robotics companies, but not 5, right? A few biotechs, but not 10. So really to balance that. And so that crafting is what this team does, but it is really built on the shoulders of the existing momentum at Alumni Ventures and the fact that we have, you know, 357 companies that are female specific, but more generally the 20 school funds and those sourcing engines that are up and running and humming, candidly. And that's really we get kind of to sort of build that perfect mix from all these different sources.
So I think we're coming up on a little bit of time for one more question, which is really more on the mechanics a bit more. So I think, you know, folks are interested in, you know, how do you know, does someone get the ability to invest in these funds? How does it all work? You know, I need some basic training.
Okay, so I'll take that as a first, and then Stacy, if you can kind of see if I missed anything.
Sure.
So we, you know, our investors and how we've built to this point at Alumni Ventures is folks from pretty amazing schools. So we're really careful about their time, and so your time as well. There's a portal, and on the portal, there's kind of 3 steps. First, you sign the documents, which like 10,000 people beforehand have done. Second, you have to prove that you are accredited, which is a digital process where we have a secure platform where you upload a W-2 or other ways to show that you are accredited. And the third is you fund it. And the funding part, we make really easy. If you're going to do it with cash, then that's literally the whole kit and caboodle can take like 10 minutes. It's like a digital transfer. If you want to do a self-directed IRA or an LLC or some things that maybe have a little bit of extra steps, then Haley, who you met before, you know, kind of jumps in and is helpful in that process to make it work. So we'll kind of shepherd the process if you use a self-directed IRA, for instance, or if you are an overseas investor and you need to use our offshore vehicle, or, you know, some of those other, you know, maybe take a couple of steps. But if you're just a cash investor, you can sign the docs, show your proof of accredited status, and fund in literally like 10 minutes, because that is how we respect your time as well. Then once you're an investor, you have this portal. You can look as the team compiles the portfolio. So you'll see new companies sort of come in every quarter. You can, you know, put up a little Google alert so you can follow those teams and kind of get to know them. Recognize it's going to take a little while for these companies to get to maturity. Like it's a 10-year fund, you know, it's not going to happen overnight, but every quarter you can log on with some new information. Every 6 months, we send you out a report that kind of composes the portfolio. And then once a year, you get a K1. That is your tax form. So that kind of distills the whole portfolio down into one document, and all that works. And then you start to get, you know, maybe those checks back, right? One check in, many checks back, as Stacy said. And over that time period, we are keeping track of things in the portal, and you have access to that at all times. I think that's most of the mechanics. Did I miss anything, Stacy?
That was perfect. So you made my job very easy. That was it. So we're all good here.
Okay, great. All right. Well, with that, I think we are coming up to time. It's 45 past the hour. So thank you for joining us. I hope you consider joining us for the Women's Fund. We're going to send out some links. So to the expert community, to the entrepreneurs forum, if you have a startup that you want us to take a look at. And in general, we're just really glad that you are tuning in, and please share the word with others in your network as we grow this Women's Fund and really build it, with the goal of supporting amazing female founders and CEOs. So thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You.
Thank you.